So now that my nightlight design is the way I want it, the next thing I need to do is draw a cut line around it. And that tells the laser engraver where to cut out the plastic acrylic so it fits in the LED nightlight. There's two ways to do that. I'll show you how to do it with the regular rectangle tool first and then the rounded rectangle tool second. And then you can choose which one you like better. So here's the regular rectangle tool. What I'm going to do is draw a rectangle around my design. And in this case, you'll notice the rectangle is black around the outside. The stroke is set to black, which will probably be that way in your case because you've been only using black stroke on everything. But in this case, the fill is also filled to white, and I need to make that go away. So I click to no fill, and now I can see my design. It's also time to turn my rectangle red. Actually, not the fill red. Please make sure you change the stroke to red, RGB red. So now my rectangle's red around the outside. I'll make it thinner in a minute. I want to do some other things first. So that's the rectangle tool, but it's not rounded. So if I grab the corners of my rectangle and pull them in, I can make a rounded rectangle. So that's one way to do it. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to show you can go directly in and use the rounded rectangle tool. If you click on the three dots on the left side, it will open up the full menu and you see lots of other tools. And one of them next to the rectangle is the rounded rectangle. And if I use that tool, when I draw my rectangle, it already comes with some slightly rounded corners. And then again, just like before, I can use the dots to adjust those. So whichever one you prefer, great. I am going to switch back to the regular rectangle tool for the second rectangle. In this case, I'm not going to click and drag. I'm just going to click on the screen. And this dialog box opens up. What it will do is create a rectangle the size that I tell it to without having to click and drag. And that's important because this rectangle must be exactly the right size. It fits in the bottom of the LED base, and it needs to be 2.8 inches wide and 0.7 inches tall. I'll click OK, and there's the rectangle created for me. I'm going to use the keyboard to put this rectangle in place. So I'm pressing down my arrow keys, okay, and centering that a little bit better. I'm also going to click over everything and drag a box. And I'm going to use the centering tool on the right side to just align everything in the center. Now what I need to do is connect these two rectangles together. I do not want the laser engraver cutting the tab off. I just want it to go around the outside. So I'm going to click on my large rectangle, and I'm going to use the shift click, which we've used before, to grab the bottom rectangle. Now the two of them are both selected, and I'm going to go to my shape builder tool, and I'm going to draw a line between them. And now it's connected the shapes. The last thing I'm going to do before I make my line skinny the way I need it is I'm going to go to the white arrow, the point selecting tool, and I'm going to grab the bottom corner, and I'm just going to bump it in about 2 keystrokes. What I'm doing is using the left and right arrow keys on my keyboard and just tapering that in a little. It'll help inserting it into the LED base later on. Okay. Now this line right now is really thick, and in order to make it a cut line, it has to be 0.001 points thick. Now when I hit enter, you're going to see this line get really thin. When I don't have it selected, you can barely see it, but that's the way it's supposed to be. So now I have my nightlight design with a cut line around it. My job then is to save my nightlight to my computer somewhere I can find it, make sure it has my name in there, and then I can upload it to Classroom so Mr. Co can engrave it. And there you go. You've got your nightlight file ready to go.